normally, again, this was in situation comedies growing up, you would wait until you were months into a relationship to introduce a boyfriend or girlfriend to your kids, and maybe not even then, right? I mean, because it's hard. It's hard on everyone. It's hard on middle-aged adults, and these are not middle-aged adults, with the sole exception of Greg. And it's hard. Like, I sympathize. I don't think polyamory should be illegal. I don't think I'm 40. My girlfriend is 26. I don't think age gap relationships should be illegal. And we've made videos talking about it. It's not easy. We didn't grow up. You never watched Seinfeld. We didn't grow up watching the same TV shows. But I can totally. What if when I was 21, I met a really good-looking woman in her 30s or 40s who has a kid, but then there I am on the couch playing video. For me as a dude, the pressure you're putting on this person, it's unfair in a lot of ways. And the hardest thing to express to people, if you don't know about this, you don't have kids yourself, I do have kids, I have kid, singular, is that in a sense, the best case scenario is the worst case scenario. Because the hardest thing for people to deal with is when they form really tight emotional relationships.
I one day want to find someone who loves me as much as you love Lainey, and love that person as much as Lainey loves you. What you have together is magical and almost fairy tale like. Can someone shoot me? I wasn't a teenager. I was young. I was freshly 21 when all that was happening, but Billy was 18. Maya, I think, was 19. Ayala's a year younger than Billy, so she was 18.
I do not think of what I do as a gossip channel, and in a very real sense, I'm not here to gossip. But I am here to try to draw some useful conclusions, draw some useful lessons from the oh-so-public sexual experience of Onision, a.k.a. Greg, and his bizarre three-way, bisexual, gender-ambivalent, open marriage. Now, you may think Greg's experience as a D-list celebrity in such a peculiar, polyamorous, gender-flexible relationship, it's so exotic, it's so far removed from the daily lives of the average American, maybe not that far removed from the average Australian, no shade, the average person who watches this channel. I do have a big viewing audience in Australia, Sweden, and Germany. This may seem so far removed from your daily life, whoever you are watching this video, dear viewer, that you think, how could I be drawing lessons here that really matter, you and I, okay? Just today I was talking to someone who's a divorced single mom, and the hardest thing is dating when you've got kids. Now, obviously, when we grow up, to some extent, the situation comedies you happen to watch, the movies you happen to watch, it's a bit random. But it seemed to me this was always a major theme on mainstream television when I was growing up. It seemed to me that the message was out there, and I heard it loud and clear. I was like the AIDS crisis generation. There was a lot of sex ed. There were a lot of warnings about accidental pregnancy. Use a condom or die was like my grade 6 textbook. You know what I mean? That was really the peak of the AIDS crisis, and some of the hysteria was well-founded, and some of it at that time was a little bit over the top. But definitely, it always seemed to me a mainstream element of pop culture that was discussed. Look, if you have kids and then you split up with the other parent of your kids, you are going to be in a very, very, very tough situation. And the toughest part to handle of all is the interaction between the new boyfriend or the new girlfriend and your kids, right? So to me, that's always been obvious. Already 3 years ago, it really bothered me that nobody was talking about this. I understand people want to focus on only the most salacious elements of the story, or they want to focus on the legalities of the story. But the legality is not what really matters here. And this isn't even a simple moral question of right or wrong. We need some other categories to consider here, okay? First date. First date. You've literally never met someone before. And you sit on their couch and play video games with their child. That's the first date. Okay? At any age, if both people are 30 years old, it's bad and it's wrong. Any gender combination. It's a man dating a woman, and that's the first date. You know, he comes and he meets her kids and plays video games with the kids sitting on the couch together. Okay? It's a woman meeting a man for the first time. Okay? And to me, this was the most outstandingly obvious problem with Onision's whole story and situation. And he wasn't just doing it once. As you guys know, he's a serial... I don't even have the word. Okay, he attempts to seduce women again and again and again to come into his relationship to play this third-party role. They like to use the word triad. Where I come from, the word triad has other meanings. That's why I say three-way relationship. I actually had people writing in to complain about that. Guess what? The word triad is prejudicial as well. Put it into Google, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, so just come in and play this role in the three-way relationship, okay? So I'll give a link below this video to a primary source video that's just screenshots. It doesn't really matter who. You can find out, all this stuff is all over the internet. This is a description of one of the young women. As I say, it's still a problem if she wasn't young. It's still a problem if you're talking about someone who's 21 years old. It's still a problem. And one of the women was 21. But yeah, in some cases, these women were like around 17, 18, 19. There have been people so young that a lot of the gawking public wants to focus on the legality of it. Okay? Yeah, of course, it's more of a problem if it's an 18-year-old who can't possibly be emotionally equipped to handle these circumstances. I don't know a lot of 21-year-olds who are well equipped. And look, I can relate. I mean, I think at my gym, I think probably the most attractive women are like about 40. We really don't have good-looking people at our gym. That's not why we go. But really it is. But like I can totally... What if when I was 21, I met like a really good-looking woman in her 30s or 40s who has a kid, but then there I am on the couch playing video... For me as a dude... the pressure you're putting on this person, it's unfair in a lot of ways. And the hardest thing to express to people, if you don't know about this, you don't have kids yourself, I do have kids, I have kid, singular, is that in a sense, the best case scenario is the worst case scenario. Because the hardest thing for people to deal with is when they form really tight emotional relationships with the kids, which happens fast. When the kids suddenly love and respect the adult, as some kind of parent, or even as an aunt or an uncle or whatever, they form some kind of relationship, and then the adult forms a relationship with them, and then that's your first date. Nobody knows what's going to happen, what's going to work out on a second date or a third date. Normally, again, this was in situation comedies growing up, you would wait until you were months into a relationship to introduce a boyfriend or girlfriend to your kids, and maybe not even then. Right? I mean, because it's hard. It's hard on everyone. It's hard on middle-aged adults, and these are not middle-aged adults, with the sole exception of Greg, the one guy who thus catches most of the blame for this. So, I quote, this person, this young woman, got to Greg's house, and Lainey was sleepy, so they told Greg they'll say hi to me tomorrow. As is a pattern here, this young woman shows up on the pretense of dating Lainey, but in reality, you're auditioning for this three-way relationship. So you're auditioning to be the girlfriend to both Lainey and Greg. They is being used as a gender-neutral pronoun here. So you show up for your date, and Lainey says she's too tired. Go to sleep. It's all weird. So your airplane ticket's been paid. I mean, there are also these elements of, fame and money. I addressed this in my earlier show. Like, when you're paying someone $10,000 for their time, when you're paying someone's airfare, There are other forms of financial inequality that creep in, but my point in this video is even without them, even without the age gap, even with the genders being reversed, it's still a problem. It's not illegal. It's a problem. Shows up, flight paid for. Lainey was sleepy. Lainey goes upstairs. So she goes to sleep. So Greg took me upstairs to a spare bedroom and showed me around the house where he films and stuff, and then let me take a shower and stuff and go to bed. You can imagine the quality of poorly written statement. Okay. Sorry, this is a poorly constructed narrative. Here we go. The next morning I got up, got dressed, and went downstairs. Greg was on the couch with his son and daughter, and Lainey was near the countertop in the kitchen. I just kind of stood there and was like, good morning. Now look, you're not under a moral obligation to seduce somebody. What does it take to make someone feel special? And it's hard. Like I sympathize. I don't think polyamory should be illegal. I don't think I'm 40. My girlfriend is 26. I don't think age gap relationships should be illegal. And we've made videos talking about it. It's not easy. We didn't grow up. You never watched Seinfeld. We didn't grow up watching the same TV shows. Sure, there are things to negotiate. There are barriers to overcome. But, whether or not you seduce someone, making somebody feel special, I'm here for you. In some ways, that's just built into the old-fashioned $15 date. If you meet someone at the bus station and then you walk to the movie theater and you give them your undivided attention while taking them out for coffee and going to a movie, on some very basic level, that makes them feel special, as opposed to hooking up via Twitter. In most of these cases, Twitter is something. Oh yeah, I'll buy you some airplane tickets. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, just wander around while we eat breakfast. Oh yeah, now be a babysitter. Now take care of our kids. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong here in a really profound way, and it's not a legal problem. And in a simple sense, it's not a moral problem. I do think this is immoral. I do. But I'm just pointing to you, it's not really easy to judge what's wrong. So she's saying she's just kind of standing there. Nobody's paying attention here. She says, good morning. Quote, I was kind of having a bit of anxiety, though, so I just stood there shaking. Understandable. Lainey was just standing there, too, so I didn't know what to do. Their living room is enormous, by the way, so I really wasn't sure which way to go towards Greg or Lainey. And so Greg saw I was shaking, so he picked me up and pushed Lainey and me into each other to hug. And so we hugged and said hi, and then Lainey went to the couch, and I wasn't sure what to do again, so I followed. So, okay, this is seduction, Onision style, right? If you want to read her whole story, you can. There's a link in the description. This is just another snippet. I'm not going to go through every detail. Lainey went to change clothes. Greg and I played Mario 3D World with his son, which kind of bothered me a bit because whenever we would lose, Greg would blame it on his son because his son would be sad, and he would say, well, maybe if you didn't do this, we wouldn't have all died, kid. Which I thought was kind of harsh to be telling a 4-year-old, but whatever. Okay. My girlfriend has taken care of my daughter, who's now 5. Was she 4 when you first met her? Okay. My daughter was very sweet and very loving and very accepting toward Melissa, my girlfriend, from the first time they met. But in a sense, that makes it even worse. That makes it harder. That raises the stakes. It raises the expectations. Raises the pressure. Right? This is a first date. This is a first date. And it's a first date in an emotionally confusing, polyamorous, gender fluid. There is a lot here. And this is a first date with a much younger woman. To my knowledge, all these people are of legal age of consent. As you can see, that's not what I'm framing this video in terms of. How many, but let's just say the age is 18. Whether it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. How many 18-year-olds do you know who are really able to deal with this kind of situation? And like, in a sense, again, the best case scenario is the worst case scenario. If this teenager comes into your house and just remains aloof and standoffish and doesn't get along with the kids, that's easy, right? But what if they do get along? I mean, obviously, the unspoken element of this here is that all of these people are being interviewed for the position of babysitter, as well as being a sexual pawn in this love triangle. So, look, guys, you tell me in the comments section. I genuinely lack the vocabulary. I can't tell you what exactly is wrong here. But, I mean, I made this video to raise that question and just say, yeah, something is really wrong.